In the year 387 of the Crimson Moon era, the dark red moon hung in the sky. Blood-colored moonlight cascaded down like a woven waterfall, enveloping the entire Emerald City. Behind the glass of a bakery's display window, red buns lay quietly on baking trays, emitting an eerie sweetness. Macy's. Marguerite was the last maker of red buns in Emerald City, her shop offering only one kind of pastry, round, red, dotted with turmeric spots. Every morning at dawn, she would place freshly baked red buns in the window. The first person pushed through the door a gaunt young man with sunken eyes, the reflection of red buns flickering in his pupils. "I want 3, he said, his voice hoarse. "Macy's." Marguerite swiftly wrapped the buns in oil paper but paused as she took 3 silver coins. Her fingertips rubbed the surface of the coins. They were still warm, as if they had been tucked away in someone's pocket for a long time. "Young man, you should pay with gold coins," she said, her voice low and mysterious. The young man's face turned pale instantly, his fingers trembling slightly, as if something were choking his throat. I don't have gold coins," he stammered, his voice shaking like a drowning man struggling. "Then trade me the color of your pupils, Mrs." Marguerite said with a strange, sacred smile. The young man stumbled back in terror, but his feet felt nailed to the floor. His pupils began to fade, shifting from deep blue to murky gray-white. As the last trace of blue vanished, he grabbed the 3 buns and stumbled out of the bakery. "Macy's." Marguerite watched the floating blue orb in her hand and smiled with satisfaction. She gently tapped it with her finger, and the orb transformed into a crystalline blue teardrop, dropping into the silver locket on her chest. The next day, Mrs. Marguerite went into the back kitchen as usual. Her fingers kneaded the dough, which writhed in her palm like a living thing. She hummed an ancient melody, a tune passed down from before the Crimson Moon era, long lost to time. Suddenly, a crisp sound came from her neck. The clasp of her locket burst open. The lid sprang up, and 9 blue pupils flew out like angry fireflies, circling in the dim kitchen, emitting a faint blue glow. "Macy's." Marguerite calmly set down the dough. She curled her finger slightly, and the pupils were yanked back by an invisible force, falling back into the locket. But this time, the crack in the locket would not close. She squinted and furrowed her brow slightly. This was an omen. Omens never lied. 3 days later, a figure draped in a grey cloak appeared at the bakery door. Her footsteps were nearly silent, like a cat, leaving faint marks on the stone path. When she pushed the door open, the copper bell let out a piercing, prolonged ring, like a scream. "Welcome, would you like some red buns?" "Macy's." Marguerite looked up from behind the counter, her smile freezing on her face. Beneath the cloak emerged a young face. The girl was about 17 or 18, with skin so pale it was almost translucent, her red hair like a burning flame. Most striking were her eyes, the left one emerald green like spring buds, the right one crimson red like autumn maple leaves. "My name is Luna. I heard the red buns in Emerald City are special, and I want to try one," the girl said, her voice crisp and pleasant, yet it sent an inexplicable chill down Mrs. Marguerite's spine. "The red buns are indeed special, Mrs." Marguerite said, subtly touching the locket on her chest, which felt unusually heavy today. "What will you use to pay?" Luna tilted her head, flashing an innocent smile. I'll use what I don't need. Mrs. Marguerite's pupils sharply contracted. What does that mean? I heard the red buns here require a corresponding price, but I have no gold coins, nor eye colors to trade, Luna said slowly, walking to the counter, her fingers tapping lightly on the glass. But I think I have something to give you, like your most cherished memory. The dough in the back kitchen suddenly began to writhe violently, making a pounding sound like a heartbeat. Mrs. Marguerite's smile vanished completely. She stared hard at the girl before her. Who are you? Who exactly are you? The secrets hidden in those buns are only known by the oldest families in this city. And you, a girl of just 17 or 18, how could you know? Luna giggled, her voice like silver bells scattering on the tiles. Of course I know, after all. Those red buns are made with my blood. Time froze at that moment. Outside the window, a few crows suddenly screeched as they flew by, stirring up a gust of eerie wind. Mrs. Marguerite's hands began to tremble, the lines on her palms twisting and deforming. The crimson moon night 20 years ago, all the memories surged back like a tide. She remembered personally kneading the last red-haired baby girl into the dough because she needed the purest blood to maintain the bun's magic. Impossible. I saw her die in the dough with my own eyes, Mrs. Marguerite said, her voice hoarse. Luna pulled back the hood of her cloak, a tuft of red hair gleaming under the blood-colored moonlight. She stepped forward, each step making her form more ethereal. Are you sure it was me who died? Or was the baby you killed just an ordinary child? Behind her, countless twisted shadows suddenly appeared, crying, struggling, wailing. Mrs. Marguerite realized in horror that the faces of those shadows all bore her own features. For 20 years, she had kneaded the life of a baby into the dough every full moon night to maintain the bun's magic. The souls of the children she killed were sealed inside the buns, watching through the window as passers-by bought them, only to have the buns sprout in their bellies, eventually turning them into crimson moon flowers that bloomed on the next crimson moon night. But today's Luna was different. There was fire burning in her eyes. I'm not here for revenge, Luna said with a smile, reaching out her hand. I'm just here to reclaim what's mine. She lifted her hand gently, and the locket on Mrs. Marguerite's chest burst open. The 9 blue pupils flew into the air, turning into 9 crystalline teardrops that flew toward Luna. But with the final crisp sound, the teardrops shattered into dust midair. Luna's smile froze. No, this isn't my memory. Mrs. Marguerite suddenly laughed, her voice hoarse and crazed. Did you think I'd let you have your way so easily? The souls I've devoured over these 20 years aren't just those babies. She stuck her fingers into her mouth and pulled out a wet object, a still-beating red heart. The memories of every child you killed are sealed inside here. Luna's face finally changed. She stepped back, and the shadows behind her began to stir. Mrs. Marguerite raised the heart high and squeezed her fingers tight. With a bang, red blood splattered everywhere. Luna screamed, her body starting to twist like a shattering mirror. But just as she was about to disappear, her right eye suddenly burst into dazzling red light. The red light struck Mrs. Marguerite, and the fragments of the heart in her hand transformed into red butterflies, their wings imprinted with babies' faces. No, This isn't the real memory either. The butterflies spoke in unison, their voices a strange chorus of infants crying and laughing. Luna's shattered body reformed, a stream of emerald tears flowing from her left eye. I stopped being the baby you could butcher 20 years ago, she whispered softly. Over these 20 years, I've been growing inside your buns. Every baby you killed gave me a little bit of your power. Now it's time to return it. Luna pressed her hands together and silently chanted a spell. The sky above Emerald City began to tremble, even the moonlight shaking. All the buns in the bakery burst open simultaneously, red light writhing like living things rushing toward Luna's body. Macy's. Marguerite watched in horror as her own hands began to dissolve from the fingertips, turning into red particles inch by inch. No, you can't be. I killed her, she screamed. Luna walked up to her and placed her hand on her forehead. In an instant, the memories of every persecuted baby flooded into Mrs. Marguerite's mind, the pain, the fear, the despair. Now taste what I've been tasting for 20 years, Luna said, her voice merging with the voices of every baby killed over the years. Mrs. Marguerite's body began to swell like a rising dough. Turmeric yellow spots appeared on her skin, her blood boiling and screaming. The souls she had devoured were tearing her apart. Luna turned and walked out of the shop, the sound of flesh ripping and Mrs. Marguerite's distorted screams behind her. She pushed open the door, and outside stood a little girl with silver hair, holding a red bun in her hands, on which was written my name. Luna, you've finally come back, the girl said, her voice carrying a weariness beyond her years. I'm the first red bun you ever made, and the only one still alive. Luna knelt down, tears streaming from her emerald green left eye. I know. I've been looking for you all this time. The girl smiled, her smile sweet like candy. You see, red buns aren't actually bad, it's just the people who used them that went wrong. She broke open the bun in her hand, revealing a crystal clear seed inside. If you want to start over, use this. Luna took the seed, and it glowed in her palm like a star. In the year 387 of the Crimson Moon era, the dark red moon still hung over Emerald City. But the bakery's window was empty, replaced by a small flower bed. The bed was full of white flowers, each with a red stamen at its center, just like the red buns. Some passers-by said that on Crimson Moon nights you could occasionally hear the laughter of babies from the flower bed, laughter no longer filled with pain, only warmth and hope. And the red-haired girl and the silver-haired little girl were never seen again. Only the old folks in Emerald City knew that at dawn on every Crimson Moon night, two small red buns would bloom at the same time, one tilting left, one tilting right, like two figures embracing in the wind.